My angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and I really do hope that you are having an absolutely incredible morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. I can't even tell you guys how excited I am to be back here on my channel. The past couple of weeks, we got hit pretty hard with that cold and flu that's going around, and it has been terrible. More specifically, because I've had all these videos that I've been working on that I have been dying to bring on here and share with you guys, because we are about to dive into some of the craziest things I have ever covered here on my channel, and I can't wait. But regardless, we're back now. I had asked you guys not too long ago what content you wanted to see from me this new year, and so many of you had requested for us to dive into another paranormal video. And when I tell you, the moment that I started digging into what is going on right now with the shadow people and the shadow people theory, I felt as though this would be the perfect video to start the new year off with. I'm so curious to hear what you guys think is going on. Now, we dove into shadow people at the very start of my YouTube channel, and we talked about this phenomena across the world of people from all walks of life having experiences with the shadow people, but more specifically with very specific shadow people. Now, before we get into any and all of this, because I know there's going to be someone who comments it, I have done my due diligence and research into the scientific aspect of people seeing shadows in the dark and making humanoid figures out of the shadows. However, for today's video, that's not the aspect that I want to focus on, for the sole fact that I do not believe in coincidences. And when we dive deeper, into the specifics of these experiences, I do not understand how people from opposite ends of the world are having experiences with very specific shadow people, and these experiences are becoming far more frequent. Now, one thing about shadow people is that, like I just said, they have been known all across the world from all different cultures. While the names are different between each culture and what they refer to the shadow people as, the experiences are shockingly similar. And as of lately, with everything going on in our world, there has been a massive increase in these sightings, leading to this new shadow people theory, and people beginning to believe we're getting closer to the truth of what they actually are. Now, while these shadow people experiences are nothing new, they've been occurring for centuries and they've happened all across the world, the one thing that no one's been able to agree on is what exactly the shadow people are. Are they ghosts? Are they aliens? Are they individuals astral projecting? Are they guardians? What could they be? And that's where we dig deeper into the theory today. So I figured the way that I would format this video is starting out by just refreshing everyone on what shadow people are, the different types of shadow people, and then diving into what is happening right now in our world with shadow people, more specifically, one shadow person. You'll understand more when I get to that point in the story. And then we're going to dive into an experience that gives you a little bit more insight into what people are going through right now. So with all of that being said, buckle up and let's get into it. Okay, so shadow people are often described as dark humanoid shapes, figures that appear as like silhouettes with no clear features or details. They tend to dart around, especially in low light areas. Some glide more across the room while others crawl, which ew. And then others disappear the moment that you recognize them. Now, some say that they're malvoyant spirits, while others believe that they're interdimensional beings slipping in and out of our reality and then watching us in the shadows. As I was mentioning, while they are all these shadow beings, there are different versions of them, one of which being the Hatman. And this is the shadow being that people are seeing more and more frequently as of late. Now, he's described as a tall, shadowy figure with a wide-brimmed hat and a long coat. Sometimes people describe the hat as like a fedora, while others say it's just a really big hat with a big brim. He's got a big hat. He is often described as unnervingly still and impossibly tall, and some believe he's actually a manifestation of evil because his presence is widely described as deeply unsettling. But the irony of that is that others believe that he's some sort of a guardian. Now, this is where things get interesting with everything going on. Ever since the drone sightings and all of these things coming to light interdimensionally, it seems as though the Hatman is being seen far more frequently, which is interesting because of the theories surrounding what people think he is. So as I was just saying, there are people who believe he's some sort of an evil spirit, others who believe he's some sort of a guardian spirit, but then there are those who believe that it's an interdimensional being or a time traveler. We'll get there in a moment. So let's take a look at the appearance here. He's tall and imposing. He has a wide-brimmed hat. He's shadowy and featureless, and he always wears a long, dark cloak and has what people describe as this old-fashioned, timeless appearance about him. And again, he's normally described as unnervingly still, while some claim he glides towards them. Now, here's my thing with the Hatman. I've never been quite able to pinpoint what exactly I believed him to be, solely because when I look at the two main things, that he's either a negative spirit or he's some sort of guardian spirit, I would have to lean more towards a negative spirit solely because I do not believe any guardian spirit would intentionally scare anybody. And the Hatman is frequently seen during episodes of sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is a state in which the body is temporarily paralyzed while waking up or falling asleep, but the mind is fully conscious. During these episodes, individuals often feel as though they're being watched, they're being suffocated. Some have described these like evil-like creatures climbing on top of them, and they're just unable to move. And again, the Hatman is a frequently spotted shadow figure during these types of episodes. He's also frequently accompanied with a feeling of dread, which could just be some sort of an uneasy feeling, meaning I do not necessarily believe it's any sort of evil spirit. I just don't believe it's an angel or a guardian angel like others do. But to each their own. Now, I always like to play devil's advocate, even though I firmly believe in everything spiritual, paranormal, otherworldly. You guys know I believe in the unbelievable. But with that being said, I do try to explore devil's advocate with it all. And I used to believe that the Hatman was probably someone with like a coat hanger in their room and a hat sitting on top of it. And that perhaps in the dark, it made out a shadowy figure, and therefore it got this Hatman name. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've hung a hat in my bedroom before and it's scared me too. But here's where it becomes very unnerving. There have been multiple witnesses at one given point in time of the Hatman as of late. While this did happen before, it seemed as though it was more often than not an individualized experience, while lately it seems as though two people in a room will see the Hatman gliding towards them at the exact same time. Now, while two people could make out a shadow in a dark room, I find that to be interesting. And again, when we get into the experience I chose to share with you today, you'll understand what I mean by this even more. So the new theory is that with everything going on, perhaps the Hatman really is some sort of interdimensional being, potentially slipping in and out of our dimension, which is why his appearances are often brief or inexplicable. And some speculate that the wide-brimmed hat and antiqued clothing suggests that he could actually be from another timeline, another time, or another reality. Perhaps some sort of time travel or interdimensional travel. Another thing that people used to theorize a lot, and I'm sure still do, is that it's somebody astral projecting. And so while you see them in the room as a shadowy figure, you don't see their physical body as it's off sleeping somewhere where they're astral projecting from. But this would lead people to have a million more questions of, why is he showing up in our bedrooms and only watching us while we sleep? Does that tie into the theory, or does that make it seem more like some sort of a spirit? it's really hard to say. I mean, the Hatman is not the only shadow people that people are seeing all across the world. I mean, as it has been for centuries, all of these increased experiences still don't just pertain to the Hatman himself. It's a wide range of shadow beings. First, you have the standard shadow people, which are just exactly as they sound, a shadow-looking humanoid figure in your bedroom looking at you in the night, or perhaps in your peripheral vision while you walk to get a glass of water. Then we have the shadow of death, or what some people would refer to as the Grim Reaper, who is often considered to be associated with a forewarning of death or bad news or bad events. Much like the Hatman, and actually having been seen with the Hatman, is the Hooded Man. Same thing, except a hood instead of a hat, and same type of feeling that the Hatman gives. But then we have the crawlers, and the idea of these are just so absolutely unnerving. As the name suggests, the crawlers are shadow people that are not humanoid in shape, but are often described as crawling around on like all fours. Oof. Their key characteristics are that they're low or crawling to the ground, as their name suggests. They're typically seen in dark corners, or again, at like the foot of the bed or on the ground. They have like erratic, fast movements rather than like the slow, gliding movement of the Hatman. And beyond that, they provide people with a feeling of being like chased or hunted. Then there's what people describe as the flickering shadows. Exactly as their name suggests, they're a shadow-like figure that is not completely solid. They kind of flicker in and out. Again, giving people the feeling of some sort of multi-dimensional being or an individual crossing over from another timeline. Then there's the faceless shadows that are described as looking human-like in all other ways, by their clothing, by their bodies, but their faces are exactly as described. They're faceless. And again, of course, the Hatman, which is the one that people are seeing more and more frequently as of late. Individuals even claiming that they would hear the drones outside of their windows or see strange activity in the sky following a sleep paralysis night with the Hatman or the Hooded Man's presence, or just a room full of shadowed people. So why? So let's first begin with the main theory that a lot of people have been discussing, and that's in regards to them being aliens or extraterrestrials or dimensional travelers. Basically, people believe that these are individuals who are able to slip between parallel dimensions or alternate realities, and that these beings could be monitoring our world right now or visiting us without being detected by physical senses. In this scenario, shadow people could be the interdimensional visitors or extraterrestrial observers trying to interact with our reality without fully crossing into it, like maybe shifting in and out of our perception, causing them to appear as these shadowy figures. These beings may also be appearing as these shadowy silhouettes because their energy or physical form doesn't completely align with our dimension. The shifting or glitching appearance could be a result of them not being fully present in our reality, and therefore that's all we can catch the glimpse of. And there are people who believe right now that the frequency in these experiences is due to them being alien surveillance agents sent to monitor or study the human behavior and activities right now, insinuating that these are alien probes or drones sent to silently observe without interrupting. The theory then continues that if the aliens wanted to keep a low profile and observe humans without revealing themselves, they might use a technology to appear as like a shadowy outline, giving them like a ghostly or vague appearance. Others also suggest that they may be using energy fields or cloaking technology to blend in with their surroundings, which could explain the fleeting nature of shadow people. But again, I do want to note that when light and darkness interact in a certain way, you might see shapes or figures that resemble a human or animal form, even though they aren't actually there, because our mind is an incredible thing that's constantly trying to fill in the gaps to make things make sense. So we can sometimes see things or patterns that aren't actually in front of us. But then we look at these experiences, and you guys, they are in the masses. There are so many people seeing these shadow beings. And as I mentioned, with the increase in experiences come the increase of individuals seeing them at once. And that's where I want to get into this experience. A lot of people have very rational minds, very sound minds, and are constantly trying to make sense of things that we would deem unbelievable. But what happens when those around you start seeing what you convinced yourself was not there? How do you explain that? Let's get into this experience because it really encapsulates what a lot of people are going through. I've been seeing shadow people for years. I'm 36 now, but I've been seeing them since I was a kid. They aren't full-on ghosts, at least not how you see in the movies. It's not like a human figure, but rather these dark, shifting silhouettes that move at the edge of my vision. I would always see them even if I couldn't see them clearly, but it felt like they were watching me. I always thought that maybe it was just me, and maybe I was just mentally unstable, you know? I was a scared kid, so I figured that could be it. I thought my brain was just messing with me. There were times when I'd be in bed half asleep and feel like I was being smothered by something, like a weight on my chest, but nothing was there. I'd wake up with my heart racing, telling myself it was a bad dream. But recently, things have been different. This all started a couple of months ago. My 7-year-old son came in one night looking pale and wide-eyed. I was in the kitchen doing dishes and he was standing in the doorway. He basically went on to tell me that there's a man in the hallway. I froze, thinking, what man? He said he didn't know, but he's all black. He's standing in the hallway watching me. He pointed to the dark area outside of his room. I tried to brush it off, encouraging him it was his imagination, but deep down I had a really bad feeling that I knew what he was talking about. That night when I tucked the kids back in, I stayed awake staring in the hallway. Sure enough, when the lights were off, I saw it. A dark form standing in the doorway at the far end of the hall with a big hat. I couldn't make out many of the details other than the shape of the hat, but that was unmistakable. It was that shadow person. I tried to ignore it and told myself that it was just my mind playing tricks. But then my daughter, who's 5, has now started talking about them too. This happened a few nights after Ben's first encounter. She once again tells me that there's a man in the corner of her room. She's looking terrified, saying he's big and tall and his eyes are like holes. She didn't describe the hat. I asked her what did she mean eyes like holes. She just shook her head but said that she couldn't sleep. I had to check her room. I turned on the lights and looked around, but of course there was nothing there. I just reassured her that there was nothing and that she was safe. But again, I felt like they were really there. I've tried to keep it together for the kids, but I can feel it getting worse. Now they're mentioning them almost every night. Sometimes it's like a passing comment, like the man's at the stairs or I saw him in the kitchen, but I know they saw it. Before anyone wonders, I never mentioned any shadow people to my kids. Now I'm hearing footsteps, heavy ones dragging on the floor, but when I check, there's nothing. Or I'll hear whispers just out of the reach of my understanding, like someone talking in a foreign language or just low murmurs, but when I listen harder, I can't quite catch the words. My kids don't seem to notice the voices, but I do. Then, the other night last week, after my husband had gone to bed, I was sitting in the living room watching TV. I glanced into the kitchen and there was a shape standing outside the doorway near the fridge. It was like the figure was half formed, standing in and out of the shadows. I felt paralyzed. My mind told me to move, but my body wouldn't respond. I just stared. And then it moved. Just a flicker of motion, and suddenly it was closer, right at the edge of the living room. I'm not sure how long I sat there, but I swear to God I felt it, and I swear to God I saw it. I snapped out of it and went upstairs to go to bed when I could hear my son stirring in his room, telling me that the man is in his room now. I don't know how, but I managed to calm him down and go back to sleep, but the rest of the night I haven't been able to sleep at all. I've done research, of course, and lately I've been reading about how these shadow people are appearing to people's children more. The theories and the experiences people are having are so similar to ours, I felt like I had to share mine too. I don't know what to do. I thought about moving, but I'm not sure that would help since it's happening to people all over the place. I thought about talking to a therapist, but then I'd sound crazy. I'm scared for my kids, for myself, and whatever is coming for us. I don't want to lose my mind, and I don't want to lose my kids. But what are these things? And why does it seem they're getting stronger? And this woman was absolutely not alone in her concerns and in her growing experiences. The internet has been flooded with people claiming that these things are getting stronger, they're becoming more frequent, and that those around them are starting to see them too. And again, a lot of people are saying it's a little interesting, the timing of it all, with everything that's been going on in our world over the last couple of months. Are these interdimensional beings? Are these extraterrestrials? Are these spirits? Are these guardians? What are they? And what do they want with all these people? This is getting weird. And I'm so curious to hear from you guys what you think is going on. Again, I'm familiarized with shadow people, but the way that things are progressing, I feel like there could be something more to it, but I want to know from you guys. Basically, that is where we are at right now with the Hatman theory and the shadow people theory. I'm going to keep my eyes on people's experiences, see if anybody has any sort of answers they think that they could give. I'd love to know what you guys think down below. What do you think is going on? Do you think it is a matter of the mind playing tricks, or do you think something supernatural is going on? I would love to know down in the comment section below. And my God, it feels so good to be back. If you guys have any video suggestions or any content you want to see from me, make sure to let me know. Again, I have some videos that I am so excited to share with you, so I hope that you'll be joining me. And that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel, or you are just not yet subscribed but you enjoy my content, I would truly appreciate it more than you'll ever know if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you. Bye guys.